It all happened on 4chan about a few years ago, in 2006. An anonymous user posted to one of the boards. The post itself contained the following text: "Hello, I worked hard on this game. Please revisit it very fun." Alongside the text, there was also a download link which led to a raw file on MediaShare. Most people would disregard the file due to the poor spelling and the post in general, and the users that ended up going on that link found that the download file was called Ed, and Eddy the game, and forget about trying it. But for the ones who did end up playing it, they'd be in for one hell of a ride. Most of the reviews and comments were varied, but it would be the usual, or what you'd expect. What the hell? Holy shit. Do not play this game. It's not what you think. And other such responses along those lines. The post itself was removed a short while later due to public response to the post. And as for the MediaFire file, it is no longer available due to the account that held it being shut down. What you're about to hear is a description of the game. The knowledge found from it has been gained from various users of 4chan who were unlucky enough to play the game and documented their experiences before the post was deleted. First, you need to download the raw file into any folder. Trying to open up the exe file directly after download will just result in an error message. However, once extracted, the game can be played by pressing Ed, and Eddy the game, to which it will be launched. The game will automatically open up in full screen, which can only be closed if you press Alt F4, use Task Manager, or press the exit game button on the game's main menu. Upon loading onto the main menu screen, it appears to be a screen cap from the show, albeit in low resolution and with poorly drawn text on it, that being New Game, Exit Game, and The Game, seemingly made in MS Paint. New Game and Exit Game are clickable and do just as they say. Upon pressing New Game, the player is tasked to enter blank boxes, that being their name, their cell phone number, and their address, with white text below it and a start button, the white text itself saying that if they don't enter it correctly, it will remove from the experience of the game. Once the player has entered their info, they then can press the start button to play the game, to which they are met in a first-person view on the sidewalk of a poorly drawn cul-de-sac. As for what's at the bottom of the screen, there's white text that appears to be a text box of some kind, or serve a similar purpose, to which the text is as follows: "Come on down and try a new scam, magic trick, only 99 cents. The game itself gives the player no actual controls, and so they have to fiddle with their keyboard and mouse until they figure it out. To which WASD is to move around, spacebar is to jump, and using the mouse controls the camera. Movement is slow and jumping is floaty, it doesn't go very high. And upon the user figuring out the controls, they'll eventually walk to the middle of the cul-de-sac, to which a few character models and objects are seen. There were character models for Ed, and Eddy, Jimmy, Naz, and Sarah, each of the character models being flat and seemingly face the player, no matter where they move. And the characters there appear to be standing around a poorly drawn rocket ship. Upon moving close to the ship, causes an episode of the show to play. Once the player gets close to the rocket ship to interact with it, a poorly made and compressed clip from the show is shown, that being from Season 2, Episode 3 of Ed, and Eddy, called Ready, Set, Ed. The clip in question shows Ed stuffing the kids into that rocket cart, with Eddie coming in and explaining why Ed and Double D couldn't join the rest of them, with the quality of the clip itself being poor and ending abruptly as soon as Eddie finishes his explanation. After the clip finishes, the player then resumes control of the game, ending up in a strange, dark, box-like room. Most players would quit the game at this point, but those who stayed for 30 seconds would receive a message on their phone, if they could receive messages. If they couldn't, then they'd have to use Alt F4 to exit the game. The message itself is type fast and is sent from an unknown number that can't be messaged back or called. Upon the user typing fast, another clip will play of some old, low-quality crash test footage. The audio of the video itself being missing and no sounds are playing, and once the clip is about to be finished, it freezes on the last frame. Pressing any key after that point will return the player into play mode. The textures of the box-like room now being replaced with the final frame of the car crash footage, and Eddie and Double D stand in the middle of the room. Approaching them will cause the white text at the bottom of the screen to change to the following. We killed them, Eddie. I know, you moron. Oh my goodness. Think of their families. No, you moron. Think of the quarters. After a few seconds, the game will freeze, before then changing the textures of the room to pitch black darkness, and the text, "You will pay for your sins," then freezing again, and quickly changing to another room. The player would be put in a long dark hallway and receive another text message, this one being "Run." Most players at the point wouldn't know what to do and quit the game. However, some were curious and decided to type "Run" into their keyboard, resulting in a clip of the show being taken directly of the show of Eddie crying. The text at the bottom of the screen would also say "Run," and if players looked to one side of the screen, they would see Double D, but it wasn't the same model as before. With this model, he was black and white, and his eyes were edited to be black and red, slowly approaching the player. If players ended up getting caught by Double D, then the game would immediately crash. Players who claim to have been caught by Double D say that they hear footsteps around their house, even if they live alone. If players successfully fled from Double D and ended up at the other side of the room, they'd be teleported to another room. This one being similar to the last one, but this time being rather tall and stretched up very high, with the white text at the bottom now being "Press the spacebar." Pressing the spacebar will cause the player to float upwards, and as they did, a brown, molten lava-coloured object, almost the same size as a rectangle, slowly filled up the room, approaching the player. Constantly pressing the spacebar will allow the player to float upwards, and if they continue to do so, reaching the top of the screen, the location will change once more. The player now stands where they were at the start, in the middle of the cul-de-sac, but now no one is there. Instead, there's a guillotine in the centre, and the white text is now displaying "End this horrible game now." If the player is able to receive text messages and does not touch the guillotine within 1 minute, they will receive 17 messages from that unknown number, all saying "End it." If they decide to idle any longer, they'll receive a phone call. Upon picking up, they'll hear a reversed version of the Ed, Edd and Eddy theme song, and afterwards, they'll hear a man shrieking at the top of his lungs. Upon touching the guillotine, the player will be sent to another menu screen, this time being black text on a white background, being "You've completed Ed, Edd and Eddy the game. You will receive the making of DVD soon. Thank you for playing." and below that text is a button to close out of the game. If the player decides to go back into the game files after completing the game, they'll notice a new JPEG image. Upon clicking it, they'll be greeted with a black and white photo of an autopsy of an unidentifiable body, and upon viewing it, the exe file for the game seemingly disappears. Upon beating the game, the players will receive a package 3 to 4 weeks later. Only the first 50 people received the package. Based on what users said, they described receiving the box a little bit too late, with the actual package itself smelling really bad and the cardboard appearing very wet. Inside the box was a small CD, and upon loading it on a user's computer, it would be received with an MP3 file called The Making Of. Upon playing the file, the user would be greeted with a normal, albeit compressed, intro to the show, and then shortly after they would see a white background with black text with the make ed of the game on it. Then it cuts to the crash test footage seen in the game, but now it has sound. It remains quiet until the last second when the car is about to hit the wall. Once it does, it plays an ear-piercing sound, which is loud enough to break the user's speakers. Pausing the video does not stop the screams, and after the video has concluded, it forces the user's computer to shut down, as if a severe virus has corrupted the user's computer entirely. And shortly thereafter, those same people would claim to have odd occurrences throughout their lives. Some say that they hear their phone ringing, even though no one is calling. Others say that they hear the reversed Ed, Edd and Eddy theme far away like an echo. And others say they hear footsteps and wake up at night abruptly, almost hearing a whisper that sounds like someone saying, "End it." And as for those who did manage to restore their computer, they found all their files replaced by the game's executable. The game itself is now no longer available on the internet, and the creator of the game remains unknown.